Hi, everyone. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1990 film. We're starting here to begin on the road to Mutant Mayhem. This movie means a lot to me. It is one of my all-time favorite Ninja Turtles movies, and tonight we're going to see if the other people that are joining me for this video agree with me or completely disagree. I don't know where it lands for them. We've talked a little bit, but not all that in depth because they wanted to save and reserve their thoughts and feelings for these movies until we recorded the video. I will be your host, Geekily, for the road to TMNT Mutant Mayhem, a series that I've been planning for a while, and I know you guys have heard me word vomit about this franchise for years across the channel, but tonight I want to shine a light back to you guys, the larger fan base, and have you step up to the plate, take over my channel, and narrate these videos. So I'm going to pass the torch. Everybody in call with me here, introduce yourselves. It might be jumbled, but I'm sure you can take the torch and do this well. So it's out of my hands. Introduce yourselves.
I'm excited. Can I start first?
Of course. What? Enthusiasm. That's why you're the leader, because you asked. 2012 reference. I'm joking. Go ahead.
Awesome. I'm Leonardo. My name is Devin Richardson, or you could call me DTA 1991. I've been a Ninja Turtles fan since I was in freaking diapers.
My name is Jackson Lorenzo Tompkins. I've been a TMNT fan since I was, one? And I'm very excited to do this. Thanks to Geekily and everybody here.
I guess I'll go next. Geekily, Kieran here, aka That Irish Geek. I've been a fan of Turtles since I was in diapers as well, from 87 reruns back in the day to 2003 and then all the other movies, and I'm looking forward to chatting about these films again, coming up to the new one.
Hi, I'm Madison, but everybody calls me Maddie. I've been a Ninja Turtles fan ever since I saw the 2007 movie in 2007 when I was 8 years old. I saw it for my birthday. I am just very excited to be a part of this, and it's an honor.
My name is TMNT Viewers by Alex, and I've been a Ninja Turtle fan since 2014, and I collect TMNT figures.
You guys can just collectively talk as a group about what the 90s movie means to you, favorite moments and stuff like that. I'll let that run for a few minutes, and then we'll move over to the presentation. So when you guys are ready.
What was it? I guess a good place to start would be how did everyone first come across the 90s movie and their experience having first seen it?
That's a good one.
I actually remember it. Remember how I came across it? I was little. We couldn't afford much, and I was about 4 years old. And I'd watch my dad repair VCRs. So I decided to repair my own, and the first movie I found was Ninja Turtles, the 1990 movie. And then I had to re-clean the tape and then take it apart and put all the film back in it. And then when I put it in the VCR, it blew my freaking mind. I thought that I was 4 years old, keep in mind. So I thought the turtles were real. I was like, how do they do this? How do they make it so real? And all the emotional beats hit me, and I was shaking, in the firehouse, when the house is burning down. And I was actually crying when Michelangelo was crying. I felt every emotion that they were feeling. I'm like, wow, if a movie can do this, I don't know how they do it, but when I'm older, I want to make movies. So Ninja Turtles decided my career path, and it felt extra connected to it. Where I was living at the time, it was very rough. You couldn't go out. You had to observe the world through TV. So I related to the Turtles and staying hidden, not hanging out with people, just observing the world through television. Plus, with how the Turtles act and talk, they felt like real people. And it's the most realistic feeling movie. And I still have that tape, and I met Kevin Eastman. I got him to sign it. And we was at the horse park, so he had a 2-hour conversation with me. And it's my life became full circle.
That's so awesome.
First movie I remember seeing.
Just so we're aware, I have high expectations for everyone else's story based on that one.
Yes, he set the bar high.
Thank you.
DTA, you set the bar incredibly high, and I don't even think I'm going to be able to top it.
That's okay. It'll be interesting to hear you guys' stories. But thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
Can I go next?
Yes, please.
And a round of applause. Man, I'm a celebrity.
So basically, I watched everything TMNT. I watched the 2012 show, and my mom thought it was the best idea to bring me to the 2014 movie. After we watched it, I cried my way home because I wanted to see it again. And my mom was like, hey, how about we turn on the 1990 movies? I watched all 3 movies. That point on, when I would watch a new movie of a franchise, I would go back and watch an old movie. And, back then I was like, no, I don't want to watch 1990, it's going to be old school, it's going to be lame. So like every time I'd watch a new movie, I would go back to this old one, and I'll be surprised by it, because when I was surprised by 1990, and it turned out to be the best TMNT movie ever.
I believe the first time I had seen the 1990 movie, I had seen some live action Turtles growing up. Like, probably they had Turtles 2 or 3 on the TV, or Next Mutation, but we don't talk about that. And I remember it was around 2006 or 7-ish. Like, the animated TMNT movie was either on its way into theaters or was in that limbo state between being in the cinemas and going to home media. I remember seeing, like, on a store catalog, for those who remember what those things are, an advertisement for a double pack of Ninja Turtle DVDs. And I was like, oh, maybe it's, like, got something to do with the new movie, because, like, I think they used, like, the actual turtle, like, art from that to promote it. But when we picked it up, it was more of a triple, like, set of DVDs, because it was, like, 3 discs. It was a double pack of 2003 volumes. I think it was like Shredder Strikes Back and the Notes from the Underground episodes. And then the other one was the original 1990 movie. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not the new one, but it's the original one, which I've never seen. And I think, like, it was a DVD that came from, like, the 2004 re-release, because it got a re-release in the UK at some point, because the original run of it was kind of censored. Like, they removed Michelangelo's nunchucks because of the whole, like, scare around that region. So this was like a complete, like, the first time that the original version was, like, put out on DVD in that region, and I absolutely loved it. I love that it was Jim Henson that did a lot of the, like, turtle designs, even though he didn't like, jive with the more violent aspects of the film, so I'm told. But yeah, it's an excellent movie, and it's the gold standard for like, turtles on film, pretty much.
I have a question. So you're from the UK?
Here we go. So, to clarify, I'm from Ireland, specifically Republic of Ireland, which is not part of the UK. Northern Ireland is. That sometimes gets confused. So, yeah.
I was just asking
just to clear that
because
up.
did you grow up with the Heroes Turtle version?
Yes, I did. I grew up with reruns of the edited version of the 87 Turtles, which was Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Weirdly enough, the movie kept the ninja in the title for some reason, but Mikey's nunchucks were still, like, cut out from the film where they could.
Wouldn't they be shorter, like the movie and the episodes be shorter?
Yeah, because, like, they had, like, a VHS tape of, like, like trying to tell the story, like, the origin story of the Turtles, but it was just kind of a cut down version of a season 3, like, clip show episode, essentially. But yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, I'll pass the torch on to someone else. I don't want to, like, hog the whole thing.
Oh no, it was just really interesting.
That's so cool. When I was a kid, I was into a lot of stuff, but I was always so fascinated by, like, the weird and the strange looking cartoons. And I was always so into, like, the obscure and old school kind of stuff, even as a kid. I got picked on a lot. I'm not gonna lie. But when I was 8 years old for my birthday, I remember seeing a trailer for this 2007 movie, and I begged and begged my dad to take me to see it, and he did, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I thought it was the most amazing movie. And then I saw a little bit of the 90s movie. I don't have a lot of recollection with the 90s movies. I do the 2007. But I will tell you this. When I got back into Turtles in late November, I stumbled upon the 1990 movie because I needed something to watch to take my mind off of the stress that I was going through. And I found the movie, and it gave me a lot of appreciation for just how incredible stunt work and costume work and lighting and shading in film, and specifically, it looks unlike any other movie I think I've ever seen. There's this magic about the 1990 movie in particular, where the shadows are so dark and thick and the backgrounds are so mysterious and shot in shadow most of the time.
Yeah.
That when you lead up to seeing the Turtles in the first 5 minutes, like after that like opening intro and the music cuts and then Leonardo jumps in the frame, it's like you stepped into a whole other world. Like, it looks incredible. Those costumes are phenomenal. Like, this is gonna be a little bit of a hot take, but like, Jim Henson knocked it out of the park with this one. I know that Labyrinth and The Dark Crystal came out at around the same era too, but man, these turtles look like they came to life. They look incredible. Nothing like these costumes would ever be pulled off today because there's a magic to these things. They look like living, breathing creatures. Are there flaws? Absolutely. But this movie is just shot so well. And don't even get me started on the action choreography and the soundtrack. And I could literally go on forever at this point. I apologize.
No, you're good.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the 1990 movie, as an adult, really moved me in a way that it gave me something to believe in again. And I will forever be grateful to everybody who had a hand in making this movie. And the iconic nature of this movie, too, cannot be understated. Because if it were not for the 1990 movie, Turtle Mania would not have been a thing. And I just have nothing but love and respect and admiration for this movie because it's just phenomenal. Nothing else can really top it, in my opinion.
Maddie, I like the way you worded it. I could feel the magic from the movie as you were speaking.
I love the way you described it. Like,
Yeah.
that's how I felt. I wish I did something like that. You did amazing. That was great.
Thank you.
On the note about the soundtrack, we salute you, John Dupress, for making just a
my
banger
God.
of
Yes.
an OST.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I can catch myself humming when the the song that plays when the turtles are walking in the sewers, like dun, dun, dun. I hum that all the time.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Iconic.
Or shell yeah, should I say.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Shell, yeah.
Like every time
absolutely.
when I rewatched it, when Raph said, "Hey," I was like, "Let's go!"
Yeah.
That's my favorite bit in the
Dude, it gave me
movie.
goosebumps.
Around Christmas 2016, my parents got me the 4-movie DVD, included the Trilogy and the TMNT 2007 movie. And so I watched the first live-action movie, and when I saw Turtles like in the series and they're just talking, I was just in a shock, just like Maddie was. And I was like, this looks so realistic. And I like, the fight scenes and, like the interactions with like Casey and April and the farmhouse scene and like the music and stuff. I just really enjoyed the movie. Like, it's mainly this movie and the second movie I enjoyed the most.
With that, thank you all so much for sharing. That was beautiful. My heart is full. You reminded
We
me.
appreciate
I
it.
got a little bit nervous.
No.
Thank you.
You guys did incredible. But from that standpoint, going off of those incredible stories that we heard here from the TMNT fan base, who's all excited for this upcoming Mutant Mayhem film, since we're going back in time and talking about our memories with this first movie from 1990 and stuff like that, I think we need to hand things over specifically to Maddie to host for a bit, who has an incredible presentation for us that I will get booted up on the screen right here on my side. So Maddie, here you go. I'm going to let you read it off. I'm not going to interrupt or anything. Everybody can chime in if they see something interesting or have questions. But Maddie, here's your time. Whenever you're ready, you can begin.
Oh boy. Ooh, the pressure's on.
No pressure, no pressure.
No pressure.
Ooh.
No pressure.
Yeah, like Geekily said, if you guys have comments or questions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer. This took 3 months of hard work.
I can't wait to see it. That sounds impressive.
Nice.
I ranked this movie for my personal retrospective as number 7, but that does not mean it's bad. I love this movie so much, but I love other things a little bit more, but we'll save that topic for another day. So this movie still slaps to this day. It's the reason why Turtle Media really got off the ground. For an independent film made without the backing of a major company like Disney or Warner Bros., it went on to make history by, and I quote, "This is the highest grossing independent film until the Blair Witch Project in 1999, having made $135 million in the domestic box office and $66 million in the foreign box office." Everybody thought this was going to fail. Like, no one wanted to take a chance on it. It wasn't until Mark Friedman really said, let's get this ball rolling and get this off the ground. Let's make a movie. that they were like, okay, let's give it a shot. As many of you will know, if you're fellow comic book nerds like I am, people didn't want to make a movie like this because of Howard the Duck and how god awful that movie performed at the box office. People thought that this really didn't have a chance. People thought that this wouldn't work. But Jim Henson got involved and the Creature Company did, and it looked incredible. Everything that they did from behind the scenes stuff that I've seen of how they worked the puppets, like the masks specifically, it was probably not easy for the stuntmen in those costumes. They would be performing in those things for almost all day, and they would have to take breaks, and they would take off the masks, and they would be running at 102 degrees in those suits. Judith Hogue specifically said she tried to wrap up scenes as fast as they could, because she wanted to get these guys water because they were sweating in there. They were probably overheating, if I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, fair play to her.
Like, Columbia turned them down. Disney turned them down. Paramount, which is like kind of strange, like, because they're making.
Now they own it.
Ended up with it.
Foreshadowing.
Warner Bros. Turned them down. And then, like, New Line Cinema saw this movie about talking turtles who has a rap master, and their arch nemesis is a kitchen utensility. So, like, their sales, like, yes, like, let's pick this up. Because, they're making Mortal Kombat.
The producer that was running New Line at the time said the only reason why they picked it up because they thought it'd just be easy as putting four stuntmen in suits.
Yeah, that is true. They thought it would be easy, but as the production grew, they realized the budget needed to be higher. This is just my personal opinion, just saying it right there. This is just my personal opinion. I have a short list of cons because this movie doesn't really have that many flaws. As you can see, I have a lot more pros than cons. The first pro I had was Jim Henson's company really brought these turtles to life. They look like living, breathing creatures, and they still hold up very well on a modern viewing. The stunts they're able to pull off while in those suits are nothing short of spectacular. Ernie Reyes Jr. in particular, he went on to become a stunt choreographer, and they loved him so much on set when he was Donatello that they actually gave him a role as Kino in The Secret of the Ooze.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
These costumes do have flaws in certain scenes. So one such moment is a famous instance when Donnie opens his mouth to laugh and you can see the stunt actor's mouth poking through the exposed hole. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this fun fact about the movie, but yeah, we love these costumes, but you can't hide flaws like that, especially on a modern viewing.
But on the VHS tape, you can't really see it that much because of all the film grain.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't even notice it.
But on DVD and Blu-ray, you can notice it. But on the VHS, they put so much film
that
grain
makes
in it,
more
you can
sense.
see
Yeah.
it.
It wasn't until we got modern, higher res renditions of the movie that it kind of became a problem. So at the time, I imagine it was just like, nobody's going to see it, but not foreseeing where technology would be in a few years.
And then Blu-ray was made.
Indeed.
Yeah, I remember for the I saw an anniversary screening, and they had it remastered to 4K, but that was the only way to watch it.
Oh, wow.
And the screening was like only 2 days, and it was at a Kentucky theater.
At the end of the day, they are like mutant turtles. So them having a mouth inside the mouth, like, it kind of somewhat like makes sense because it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's got to be
Let's
some
make
weird
a canon reason
genetic
for
stuff.
it.
Yeah. But finish your cons, because I actually got one con, and it's my only con with the movie.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Oh, of course. So the next con I wrote was Danny is kind of annoying. I hate the fact that this kid never got any comeuppance for backstabbing April and getting her home destroyed. At least he comes around and helps Splinter, but my point still
But Danny did do that. I didn't realize.
I mean, he did pay her back the money he supposedly stole from her
$20 for a burnt freaking building.
Yeah!
Yeah.
$20 for millions of dollars in damages.
Here, maybe you can put a down payment on it. I don't know.
What's April going to do again? April can do with that movie is get a cheeseburger and fries in New York.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, like, unstable, exchange right there. $20 for a burned building now.
Another con that I had with this movie, I don't know if this is gonna get backlash, but Donnie doesn't really have much to do.
How dare you? I'm joking. I'm joking.
He fixed the truck. That was his arc.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, hey, that's true.
If I may chime in on that, I was actually going to say, yeah, that is one of my like main flaws with the original film, and kind of a few other bits of Turtles media, where, you know, much like how much in the same way to what weapons like the Turtles got, Donnie just seems to always get the shaft. If you catch my drift,
Yeah.
The dude doesn't do machines except for helping out on the truck. But there is like one detail that does kind of lend he is the smart guy, is that like he sometimes like has like, you know, he says smart things, but also like in the set design, it looks like the TV is just kind of like made together like with a bunch of like scrap.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. I always like that.
I feel like they made Donnie more street smart than technologically smart.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
I mean,
this was the 90s.
I also felt taking out the real world implications of budget reasons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If they were going for a more grounded, realistic take, I get it. You know, using
made him
what's
more
at
of a
your
mechanic.
disposal to craft everyday items and stuff like that. I thought it worked.
You know, it's weird Donatello gets the shaft a lot because he's Peter Laird's favorite character.
Yep.
Yeah!
Especially weird, yeah.
Maybe they did that to spite him because Laird was strict on this movie. He even complained a lot about the turtles having fingernails.
Yeah.
I heard they said they didn't want to have
fingernails.
Like they didn't want to like the '87 cartoon, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he despised it.
Yeah.
I guess Girls Forever was his way of getting back at it.
Which we'll talk about that in a future video.
I didn't mean to bring it up. I have to go with my point.
I got an interesting fact
Yeah, what's up?
about the farmhouse scene.
Mhm.
So you know how in each drawing you see Leo, Donnie, and stuff?
Mhm.
Yeah, they skipped Mikey and Raph. I noticed that too.
There's actually a drawing of Mikey, and there was going to be a montage of him, I think, fighting or something.
Oh yeah,
But
Yes,
they cut that out.
that's right.
Because Mikey took it to heart in the original.
Yeah, Mikey took it the
director's cut.
hardest because he was the one who
Yeah.
doubted it first.
I think they changed it up because they thought he'd be too similar to Raphael.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
which is-
plus you don't want the party dude to like go through this arc of him screaming via Raph.
Yeah, he's not supposed to have emotions. You're supposed to make the audience laugh.
Yeah, I feel
Well-
like they just gotta make the kids sad.
Yeah.
Till Last Ronin came out.
I was like, make
Which
those
is-
kids
Raph
cry.
Ronin has to say
Make
something
them
about that.
stop.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you noticed on the rooftop, even though it's dimly lit, you can still see that the bandana is clearly orange.
But the
Yeah,
voice was
Mikey's
Raph.
that was-
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Maddie, that was the con I had since we've already brought it up. That multiple times through the movie they mix up Raphael's voice with Michelangelo's voice. Like in the fight with Casey, when he says, "Well, it's Michelangelo." When Mikey's in the sewer talking to Donatello, when he says hi, it's Raphael's voice. And when he screams, it's Raphael's voice, but it's clearly Mikey.
Wow,
I actually
really?
noticed that.
I
I
never
didn't even
noticed
notice.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
I
it's in
never
spirit of the 87 cartoon. They mixed up those voices and bandanas all the time.
Yeah!
It's
Exactly.
continuing tradition.
Maybe they was referencing it. And
No, I fully
You have
think
to
it
be
was
smart to catch it.
unintentional. I fully think it was
yeah, I think it
unintentional.
was a fuck
Yeah.
up.
Mine
Because
was
red
like
is
a
similar to
reference, but-
orange.
Yeah,
would
probably
be the
a screw up in
weirdest-
the editing department.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
warm
Yeah.
colors with the
Greg.
cool colors. Ooh, this brings me up to my next point if we're
Yeah.
talking about Raph. So the next con I had to this day, I'm a little confused as to why they switched the iconic moment with Leo getting thrown through April's
Yes.
window with Raph.
Yes. You
No.
want to know
I think-
why?
I have a theory on why they did it.
I have a concrete reason as to why. Hear me out. Hear me out. It's in the credits. Raphael. He's the
Oh.
leader of the group.
Oh, I was gonna point that out. Yeah, Turtle Power.
Oh
my
my god.
I
Nice.
I'm having
wasn't
my
trying to not read the
Sorry,
script
let me
correctly.
explain my reason.
No, they showed an early cut of the film to Partners in Crime, and he thought Raphael was the leader
Yeah.
because he was the main focus of the
Really?
movie.
Yeah,
So
because
that,
I was
that
going to
is a concrete
say,
answer.
if you have no history with TMNT, this was your first movie, I could fully see how you would confuse that. I would fully see how you can get it
Yeah.
confused and say that Raph is the leader.
Yeah, I
The
can
arguments
too.
on the playground flourished.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh,
Rice fans are gonna go back to the credit and be like, see guys, Raphael is the leader.
But
Yeah,
fun fact, another fun
Oh.
fact, in which I'll let you get to your point. I haven't forgotten. But
Sorry, I'm just a fast talker.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. I was just going to say, I want to say in Texas a few years ago, like in 2014, they held a Ninja Turtles party for just a bunch of fans. They got together. Vanilla Ice was there, Partners in Crime. They had a bunch of the arcade games and stuff like that. At the party, Partners in Crime performed, and apparently they've performed Turtle Power multiple times live since then, and they've changed the lyric to Raphael.
Oh, thank God.
He's the hothead of the group.
I'm so glad they did that.
Yeah.
They should, if they ever do remaster the movie, they should include the updated version.
Oh,
But yeah.
wow.
Yeah, but my theory why they switched it to Raphael is because he was the bad boy, he was the loner, so he was more likely to get roughed up sneaking out on his own. And not to mention, he walks out in broad daylight, and if you're a foot ninja, you're probably on a rooftop as well, so that's
True.
probably what happened.
Yeah.
I still definitely would have preferred Leo, but I guess it was just their way of referencing two iconic Turtles moments at once, with the rooftop freak out from the Casey Jones micro series comic from Mirage blended with him being thrown through the window. So I guess they just killed two birds with one stone and just gave it to Raph.
Plus, I had canon that the only reason why Leo stayed in the apartment instead of going after Raph is because Mikey and Donnie are like the younger brothers, and he was just looking after him just in case the footage.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
And like Raphael getting hurt is like them punishing him. It's like he's supposed to keep everybody together. He's the leader. And he let Raphael get beat up out there.
Exactly.
Well, Leo's
And
name
I
starts
think
with an L for a reason.
Yeah.
We here at the Geek League channel would like to apologize for the slander towards Leonardo to all Leonardo fans.
Yeah,
Leonardo, more like Leonardo.
There we go.
Oh my god.
I'm joking.
That's all right.
Leo.
They made that joke in Next Mutation in 2012, so no reason to apologize.
This is so much fun.
It is fun. I'm having a great time.
I'm so honored. Oh my god.
Like I love just talking about all this stuff, man. It's so nice.
So the last con I have with this movie is not of the movie itself. Karen's once again ruined the fun after it came out.
Yeah.
Because of Casey Jones.
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
And that pissed me off. Casey Jones is one of my favorite characters.
Goongala.
Come on, Kevin, we still got Casey.
Because of that.
Yeah, no. If we're talking about Casey real quick, I have it in my pros. Elias Koteas was pitch perfect casting as Casey Jones. Whoever gave him that role deserves several paychecks and like some eternal gratitude.
Yeah.
That man looks like he just came out of the cartoon. He looks pitch perfect. It's like when Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Iron Man. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's like Iron Man. Like he looks like he's ripped right out of the comic.
Yeah,
I agree. And when I was talking to Kevin Eastman, he said he agreed too.
So good.
As it should be.
I actually have one con with this movie.
What?
Ooh, let's hear it.
Compared to the other two movies, the first movie's lighting, it's just hard to see with the turtles and stuff, especially when you're watching like broad daylight.
I can agree.
Yeah.
There are some shots for sure.
One, like, going back to, like, what is it? The cons with the film. This is just me spitballing a bit more about Donnie. He feels like Donnie feels like Mikey's, like, comedic sidekick for most of the movie, which, I mean, makes sense. They're the two youngest of the turtles, so they got the more comedic edge to it. But it's just like, look at how they massacred my boy. Like, you should be, like, doing all the sciencey stuff.
I was going to say, I didn't get that vibe until Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah.
I felt like it was done tastefully enough in the first movie, personally.
Yeah.
My only con of the film is the freaking baby turtle animatronics. What are those nightmarish things?
You know,
Pizza.
I mean,
Radical.
stuff like the way their heads are shaped. I'm like, if they would have got to give them like better heads, I would have been fine with it.
I thought it looked cool.
But nah, them head shapes, man.
Is it the eyes? Is it the beak?
Are we just roasting a bunch of babies now? What are we doing?
I'm sorry, but they look ugly as freak.
Turtles were.
So does the Mutant Mayhem
Like
children.
Mutant Mayhem, they look ugly in a cute way.
They kind of look like sunny side up eggs drooping.
Hold on. What kind of sunny side eggs are you eating?
The droopy kind.
You know,
Some movie trivia based on those turtles.
Yeah, what's up?
This is coming from the TMNT 30th anniversary cast reunion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Brian Henson went on the record and said that when they were shooting those baby turtle scenes, flies would just swarm all over them, right? They would swarm all over them when they were shooting. So they used foam sheets to attract them, and then they would just get 30-something people would just smash every single boat
Wow.
while they were shooting.
Don't let Peter find out. Good lord.
Attention, there was flames harmed during the making of this movie. If Elias Koteas is watching, dude, you're perfect as Casey Jones.
Yes.
I want to meet you. I want to give you a big hug, shake your hand, and buy you some pizza. You were fantastic in that movie.
It's an open invitation, buddy. Come on over.
Hey, yeah.
Exactly.
I want to know you want to.
No.
Oh my god. I'd probably cry and go, oh my god, it's Casey!
I would too. He's my favorite Casey.
Is there anything major that we need to cover left before we round this out?
So I love how the animatronics look. Like that's been said before, but they look amazing. And I love how Mutant Mayhem recaptured that, with the shells on the back. They look like the 1990s. I love that. And I love how they captured so many Mirage comics into one 3-act film. That was great. And the Turtles realizing that Splinter one day is gonna be gone. Something that a lot of teenagers can relate to, and a lot of children can relate to. It makes them feel like actual teenagers. That's refreshing to see. Everyone, Casey, Splinter, they're great. Shredder in this, he looks like Dark Vader, honestly.
Yeah.
His presence is God, he's here. Honestly, it's a truly deep, epic story of the Turtles. I love it so much.
That was great. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
These turtles are my version of the Turtles. I will always pick them over any other version of the Turtles. Love them. Oh, cowabunga, turtle power. I'm on the siren.
Beautiful.
Bossa Nova.
Let me give another.
Excellent.
Thanks.
We'll say I've got some small minor notes that I'll just throw in for the hell of it.
Yeah, go
There's
for
a lot of Star Wars inspiration, I think, in this film.
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
from
Definitely with Shredder.
Splinter appearing as a Force ghost, and as was a DTA said, the sort of Shredder kind of mimicking Darth Vader, down to even similar line deliveries of "I am your father," and saying their fighting style reminds me of something familiar, something from the past. I believe the line you were supposed to say was, "I sense something, a present not felt since," and then walk off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one more thing to say.
Yeah, what's up?
I love how the Foot Clan are the Turtles. Because they're not accepted by the world. They're teenagers and not accepted by the world, just like the Turtles.
That's true.
Yeah.
Love that.
One last thing I will throw out is that I do want to address the absurdity of the UK cut of the movie. Because,
Yeah, how much different is the UK cut?
as far as I'm aware, I haven't watched it fully, but I know from secondhand experience, some of the nonsense in the UK cut was interesting in that, they got rid of, the turtle wax gag because the nunchucks were too, in shot to blur out. So it just goes from April and Casey's, whole massage moment to the very next scene. The fellow Chucker scene gets cut, and there's a couple of side shots that they put in to make up for it, like April pulling a rug underneath the Foot Clan. And most importantly, because Mikey's nunchucks play a big part in the defeat of Shredder, instead of Splinter catching Shredder's spear with the nunchucks and then holding him over the side for that last line delivery, instead they awkwardly cut it to make it look like Splinter just steps to the side and Shredder just falls off the building like an idiot.
That ruins the whole moment.
Hey, Geekily.
Yes.
Thanks for having me on your video, man.
Thank you all for joining. Come on now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I should be thanking
this
you.
has been a privilege of a lifetime.
Of course, anytime. I'm always down to talk turtles.
We'll be talking about turtles pretty much every day or every other day. We'll see.
Yeah, man.
As we
It's time
continue.
to talk about some turtles.
Yeah.
So
Next up,
tomorrow?
we're going to be talking about TMNT 2, The Secret of the Ooze. This is one of my favorite TMNT movies. I know I said that about the last one, but I love them all. Can you blame me? But same thing as last time. I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to chime in, of course. I want to be part of the discussion. I'm a Ninja Turtles fan. You know me. It's Geekily. And you guys are ready? Take it away. Start wherever you want to.
I'm just gonna start right out the gate. I have some problems with Secret of the Ooze. I know Geekily said that you really like the movie, but like there are some parts of it that I will say like it feels like it's kind of had wasted potential due to how it got to be like they kind of had to pull the reins back on it a bit because of how people reacted to the first film, mainly parent groups, you know. So
Karens.
Yep. It's unfortunate, and like the main takeaway from it is like the turtles barely get to use their weapons, and it's especially annoying when like there's moments in the film when they could clearly use their weapons, like cutting themselves out of a certain like rope trap, Leo.
Yeah.
Hold on. I was going to say real quick, just not to cut your point short, I just wanted to interject here. Could you agree that maybe, I know the reason behind it was because of the parental backlash of the first movie, but did you find any charm in it, maybe being closer to the 87 series, that it could have been used for comedic effect, or do you just only see it as a flaw?
Honestly, like, I think it's just, it's one of those situations where, like, you watch the first film and you, like, it's a brilliant blend. It's a brilliant blend of the original comic books and the cartoon, of like just kind of mashing those tones together, but making them work seamlessly into one cohesive story.
Right.
With Secret of the Ooze, it's like they lean more towards the cartoon side, and it doesn't feel like you still have that same weight of, like, you know, the more like darker elements of the first film. Like, it just kind of feels like it doesn't have the same like tonal balance, is I think what I kind of have a problem with it. On top of that, like the TCRI, how it's handled, or TGRI, I'm sorry, they changed it for some reason.
Yep.
TGRI.
Changed it?
Yeah, it's TGRI in this movie,
Yeah, like going off my notes, it was in the original comic books, it was TCRI, so Techno Cosmic Research Institute. Whereas in this film, it's TGRI, as in Techno Global Research Industries?
Yeah, because they weren't going to have the baggage of it. They weren't going to do any of the space arcs or anything, so I think they wanted to keep it somewhat grounded.
That's the thing, though. I like to think they wanted to do the space stuff, but something was keeping them back, because I will say this right now, TGRI is very sus in this movie. Like, there are motives, and like the way they operate is so mysterious. You never really get a proper answer for why they had those chemical leaks in the first place. And like they just like disappear off screen by the end of the film. Like, we don't really like get a sense of what the real secret of the ooze was, other than, oh, well, the turtles were created on accident. Yet the subtitle of the movie makes it such a big deal of Secret of the Ooze. Like, oh, we gotta find out about the secret of the ooze. But it's like, there's no secret. And it's kind of a, like, it's like you hype up this, like, it's like the Futurama scene of, like, you set my expectations so high, but then you just, like, let them drop. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I do feel like at some point they wanted to do the space stuff. I was just more so speaking in reference to this film in particular. Who knows? Maybe it was budget stuff. But yeah, TGRI. Weird choice.
The movie really suffers from a problem of identity. Doesn't know if it wants to be similar to the 87 or the Morales comics. For example, Poke on Razar. We expected it to be Bebop and Rocksteady, but it wasn't that. We expected to see the Utroms. That didn't happen. Like, it just really suffers from that, and it just turns me off so much. And the guy, like the scientist should have been like Baxter Stockman. Like, he has the tie and everything.
Yeah, I was actually, just to interject here for a bit, I personally, and of course this isn't like a debate, it's just a bunch of fans coming together who like,
of course, yeah, like any, like, we respect all opinions. Like, there's no worries.
Yeah, for me, and this isn't a fault to the first movie whatsoever. I would say I generally prefer the first film, but I do like that the second movie, in my opinion, felt very committed to a tone, which was the more campy, lighthearted side of the 87 animated series. Token Razar, I'm over it now. Like, I'm sure at the time, if you went in the theater, if you were there watching the animated series and you were hyped to see Bebop and Rocksteady on the big screen, that would be a huge disappointment. But now with where we are in the brand, we have two new original mutants from this movie that have expanded beyond this movie that we get to see new iterations of. Yeah, like in the 2012 show, and they can come back in the future. So I think that they were, Yeah, exactly. And I think they're a cool addition to the brand at large because of their introduction here in this film. Of course, in the moment, if you were there at this movie premiere, I can see that being a bit annoying, but in the grand scheme of things, it worked out. Professor Jordan Perry, if you guys didn't know, I think in the original draft of the script, the reason he's not Baxter Stockman was because they were originally going to reveal him to be an Utrom or Krang, one of the two.
Really?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that was my complaint. I wanted the Utroms to be in it.
Yeah.
That supposedly there was like a deleted scene that might have been shot where it was revealed he had like the whole like Krang in the chest thing, but I don't know if it's like they tried to shoot it or if it's like maybe the Jim Henson Company couldn't figure out how to get the visual effects to be convincing enough, because like that's another thing. The turtle costumes did take a slight downgrade. I feel like they look more rubber in this compared to the more like realistic textured like feel that they had in the first film.
To add on to your point, the costumes, while still amazing by the Jim Henson Company, don't get me wrong, this was a little bit of the weaker side, because the faces especially, Mikey doesn't really look that different, but in comparison to the others, they've got bigger, sweeter, cuter eyes, and Donnie in particular, he just looks very
Donnie
off.
was, yeah.
And speaking of the turtles, like their voices almost sounds the same. Like Raph's voice actor did not return, but he sounds a lot like his first movie version. But Donnie's is different because I think Corey Feldman had some personal issues around the time. I think he was in rehab, from what I've heard. But you can't tell a difference.
Seamless recasting, which is not what I can say for April.
Yeah, no, I love Paige Turco, don't get me wrong, but Judith Hogue is April O'Neil.
Do we know why they recasted her? I forget.
I do. I do.
I think it's because she was complaining too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I actually talked to Judith Hogue last year, and she told me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold the phone, man.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, you're right. She said that she was so concerned about the suit actors and she was the only one on set really speaking up to, harsher elements that came when filming. And it came back that she was apparently, quote unquote, a pain to work with because of her mouth, that she wasn't invited back to the second movie.
I mean, she had good intentions, but I'm guessing like tempers and egos may have just gone awry with some of the film crew and they just decided, yeah, no, we're just going to recast her. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and like from, obviously she didn't come at it with malicious intent. She was looking out for the best interest of the turtle actors and everybody on set. She was looking out for their well-being, rightfully so.
Exactly.
But I guess like you said, they were kind of a bit like,
nobody else pushes us like this. We can't have that.
I feel like at this point we should also acknowledge the elephant in the room, or should I say the rapper on the dance floor.
Yes.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ninja, go ninja, go.
Quick question. Before we even talk about the song itself, which one wins, Turtle Power or the Ninja Rap?
Ninja Rap.
It's a tie for me because I enjoy both.
I'm going Turtle Rap, even though technically they are wrong about Raphael being the leader of the group, transformed from the norm by the nuclear goop. But it's just a bop. Like I can hear TURTLT Power in like a bunch of like the Shredder's Revenge soundtrack. Mainly we ain't came to lose. Right. So it's like every so often I'm hearing TURTLT on the beat and it's like, oh yes. Like that song is just ingrained in my brain. And like Ninja Rap's alright, but it's also kind of absurd in the context of the film because it's like you guys are just okay with giant turtles like rocking up onto the dance floor and apparently you're okay with it enough to where you can make up a rap on the spot.
Well, actually, something like that would have happened in the 87 cartoon, so I give it a pass.
This movie runs on the 87 cartoons logic at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Ninja Rap that's the one that I remember the most, because Secret of the Ooze was the movie that I remember it playing the most. Like when it was on TV and stuff, I remember it would usually be on like later in the day or like super early at night.
Yeah.
And every single time I remember the movie, that's the first thing that comes into my head, that dance scene with Vanilla Ice singing, go ninja, go. Like, it's just so iconic. I have it on a playlist on my phone. I kid you not.
I still have it on an iPod Touch.
Vanilla Ice is like, the Ninja Rap, probably the more iconic of the two. Just from like looking at my like Blu-ray set of the original trilogy, like Ninja Rap is on all of the DVD menus. Like, I would have wanted Turtle Power to be on 1990 and maybe Tarzan Boy on Turtles 3, but nah, it's just Ninja Rap on all three.
There's a reason for that. I am so mad I didn't mention this character in the first movie, but I'm so glad he returns here so we get the chance to talk about him in this movie. I'm glad they brought back Tatsu. They did not have to do that.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, one of my notes is just Tatsu and then in brackets, grunts. Literally, half his dialogue is grunting, and I love it.
Fantastic.
He asserts so much dominance with just a simple
Sometimes I kind of wish, I know this is like not accurate to any of the source material, but I would have been so happy if, okay, I'm not going to act like I didn't like Super Shredder. I know he was there for like 2 seconds. That was fun and everything.
Oh, we'll get to Super Shredder, trust me.
If they went with this route, I wouldn't have been mad. If they kept Shredder dead and made Tatsu Shredder in the next movie.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That would have been cool, actually.
Yeah.
That would be so dope. Make sure Tatsu the villain for the next film.
I actually have an idea for an alternate ending for this movie that could have been better for the third movie.
Oh, what's that?
Remember how Shredder has the last bit of the mutagen and he gets, taken down by the turtles, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to make it like we think he's dead, but we see mutagen on his hand and his hand starts to twitch, meaning that he's still alive and he's going to come back in the third film. And Super Shredder is the main villain of the third film.
Yeah, I agree. That would have worked out a lot better.
I will say, since we're talking Super Shredder, obviously, this is diverting into, cartoon discussion slightly, but 2012 did Super Shredder way better.
Yeah.
That
dude gets taken out by a boardwalk in this movie, and we had a whole, couple of episodes arc.
Yeah, he had a whole arc in that.
Dedicated to it. In
and
2012,
he gets destroyed by a garbage truck, and he just comes back at the end of that episode.
So true. I don't think anyone's acknowledged how big of an L 90s Shredder is in terms of, fighting. He's a great character, and he's really imposing, but final fights are not his strong suit whatsoever.
They really aren't. He's good at, he's got a presence, but, aside from that one deleted fight scene from the first film that I know about, he doesn't get to do much.
I actually have 2 elephants in the room for this movie.
2 of them? My God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
The first one's about Shredder. When he fell into the garbage truck, in case he does, oops, we see him get killed, and then he comes back. I'm thinking, if he was Super Shredder and he come back, that would make sense. But he's not Super Shredder, so how is he not? So how is he not dead? Obviously, plot armor. That's the best way to go.
I was gonna say because the plot demands it.
Yeah.
And the second elephant is Casey. They don't mention him at all, and I know it's because parents and stuff. But they don't mention him. They don't reference phrase. They don't even get a voice message from him. None of that. They don't even mention Danny at all, which I know Maddie's the least favorite character, but I'm just thinking they don't mention these characters at all from the first film. But when they bring Casey back from the third film, they don't reference the events of the second film to him. They just don't.
Good
In
point.
fairness,
that's weird.
Turtles 3 is it is such a bottle episode of a movie.
It really is, yeah.
Because it feels so disconnected from the other two.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. At the same time, I'll save my thoughts for Turtles 3 when we record that one, because I've got some things to say.
Me too, man.
Same. Have some controversial things to say.
I know, because
I
was about to say, it's going to be crazy because we have somebody who really likes that movie in here. So that's going to be a fun discussion.
Ooh, I wish we had a sound effect right now for plot twists. Woo!
Let's see. Yeah, that one works.
Ask and you shall deliver. Or I shall be delivered. I don't know.
Yo mama.
This is the point in the discussion where we just evolve into using sound bits.
In here, I need to figure that out.
I will say, even though she is replacing Judith Hogue, and Judith Hogue is an entire entity of herself, and she's awesome. I do like Paige Turco.
Me too.
I
agree.
do. I think she's very nice and very sweet as April. I think she just leaned a little too much into the mom kind of side of things.
I personally
does that make
like
sense?
that. I like
I
that
can see that.
Yeah. April's always been the older sibling to the Turtles. And obviously with them not having a lair, she's kind of taken up the whole mother of 4 thing, which of course, they reference in 2003 as well.
Yeah.
I just wish we kind of got more of Splinter being tell me about it.
That would have been sick, yeah.
Kids.
I think
that's another thing. That's another thing. I wish we'd gotten a little bit more Splinter. The scene where he saves the turtles at the junkyard is awesome. because we actually see him take action again. But like, other than that, like, he's only there to like give wisdom or give advice or retell the Turtles' backstory when they meet Kino for the first time. Or the second time, really.
But you see, the thing is, he finally used the bow from his action figure, so it's justified.
Yes.
Yeah.
You say Michelangelo's signature like weapon is the nunchucks. According to the fifth film, it's actually combat cold cuts.
Combat cold cut.
I think that was the closest thing they could do to work around the nunchucks thing in the 90s, like especially for like UK audiences and others who would like ban the nunchucks in other versions of the Turtles.
The Shredder costume redesign, were you feeling the more red in the first movie, or do you like the purple that resembles the 87 series?
Red. I love purple. Red.
The red is kind of more of a reference to, I think, the early colored issues of the Mirage comics.
Yeah.
But I do like the purple. It's a nice change. The thing I have a problem with the redesign, I think, here is just, why do you have so many damn spikes on your helmet, Shredder? Like, Jesus Christ.
What's your favorite scenes from the movie?
Ooh, great. I'll let you guys go first.
That's a very good question. Difficult, because I feel like most of the answers will probably be the Vanilla Ice moments.
Well, that's an easy answer. I think my favorite scene is the junkyard stuff. Ooh. It's the closest that we get to the original Turtles, like from the OG movie. Like, they go to this creepy junkyard and it's all dimly lit, kinda. Like, obviously it's still a little brighter, but like, they go to this junkyard to save Raphael. And the whole scene setting up to before they get trapped, it's like, yeah, it's funny, but like, you can tell something's about to go down. They're pointing out the obvious, like, oh, it's a trap. Like, we know this, but like, we're still going in anyway because that's our brother. And the whole thing where they're about to be skewered, I was like, damn, that's kind of intense for a movie. Like,
if only you had something to cut the rope.
Yeah, really. I was like,
again,
Leo, really?
Leo.
I think my favorite scene was when we first see Toka and Warzar, and Shredder just gets all mad.
They're babies. Like, what is it? To go back to what Maddie was saying about like the junkyard scene, I will also say that has like one of my favorite line exchanges in this entire movie of like, it's quiet, a little too quiet. There's Raph.
Yeah.
A little too Raph.
Yeah, I love that part.
And he's like, you guys.
I'm having a hard time picking between three. Do I have to just pick one? I love the scene where the Turtles invade TGRI. I really like that scene, and mostly for an aesthetic sense. I think that the interior of the building, it's not like, oh, this is a revolutionary set design. But I just like the lighting in that scene and the Turtles being in that environment. It looked really cool to me, and it very much reminded me of them infiltrating TCRI in the Mirage comics for the first time. So I really enjoyed that scene quite a bit. I also like the scene, I'll be nice, I'll just pick two instead of three. But the scene where Kino and April are exchanging and he's very suspicious about the Turtles hiding, I thought that was also really fun and well-crafted scene.
He just barges in with pizza, expecting to come in like, oh yeah, she won't mind. She finds pizza all the time. I can just barge my way into her house. I will say we need more Kino, because ever since Kino was introduced in this movie, like, he's such a cool character.
Yes, he
like,
is.
There's so many opportunities with this character that I feel like so many TMNT people aren't taking up on. Like, Ernie Reyes Jr. is clearly ecstatic and very excited. He said at the con I went to, he said, I'd love to play Kino again. Like, he's very, very attached to this character. If he wants to do it again, by all means.
Well, I think that this conversation deserves a round of applause. All right, guys. Guess what movie we have to talk about next? It's TMNT 3, everyone's favorite. Let the battle commence. I'm gonna fall back into the shadows and let you guys have at it. I'll chime in here and there, but I don't want to get caught in the crossfire. Go for it.
Hold on, there's a Ninja Turtles 3? How did I not know about this?
It came out of the abyss and crawled its way out of a ditch going, I live!
Last time I checked, it was the first film, Secret of the Ooze, and then nothing for the next few years until 2007 came out.
Unfortunately not!
I think I lost time.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
Okay, so yeah, legit. Okay, what are people's thoughts on this movie?
I hate it.
It's good. Okay.
It's alright, but not as good.
Conflicting opinions. Love it.
This is gonna be a debate episode, pretty much. Is what I'm seeing. What I'm sensing, I should say.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
War.
It'll be the most debatable episode.
Okay, let's just roll down the call. I see this movie as like a so bad it's good situation. Like, I acknowledge it is the worst of the trilogy, but I will say right now, I kind of like some things this movie does more than Secret of the Ooze. I know that's sacrilegious to say, but hey, this movie lets the turtles use their weapons for one.
Yeah.
The hesitance behind that was so loud.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
No, it's funny. Look, I for one, I'll say this. I like TMNT 3. I'm a fan. I'm a defender. Well, I'm not a defender on whether it's a good movie or not. But I will defend that there is some entertainment to be had, okay? I'm not going to act like it's a perfect script. I'm not even going to act like it's the best TMNT film ever made because I'd be lying. Straight to your face. I might as well spit in it. But I have fun with this movie. That's my 2 cents.
I'm in the exact same boat. Like, there is entertainment to be had in this, and like, to quote Jello Apocalypse, like, sometimes a bad movie is better than a boring movie, and this movie is anything but boring.
I actually really did enjoy it. It's not as bad as people say it is. Sure, the animatronics look like ass, but it's a pretty good. Not good. I like it though.
I really, really don't like this movie. I'm sorry. Oh boy. So I guess I have 3 major complaints with this film, and I'll start off with the lowest and then the highest. So number 3 would probably be the obvious. I mean, the turtles are butt ugly. You can tell that they don't belong in this universe, like either or, not even in New York. An argument can be made that with the first 2 movies, yeah, they're obviously costumes, but the biggest takeaway was that they were worked on by professionals, the Jim Henson Company and the Creature Shop, and they looked so realistic that you could probably argue that they belonged in that world. Like, does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense.
The problem with these turtles is that, honestly, if I saw these turtles in the dead of night in an alleyway, I would run for my life. They are so intimidating.
I got bad news for you. Do not look at the Turtles 3 costumes after years of that movie.
Oh, jeez, yeah. The decayed costumes over the years.
Oh, yeah, I've already seen them. They're 10 times worse. They look like zombies.
I have this old busted up iPad, and I almost exclusively used it for Ninja Turtles research. And during that time, I came across the decayed suits, and I literally threw up.
Oh my god!
I had a much weaker stomach when I was younger, but those decayed suits,
no.
I literally threw up. It was terrible.
When I watched Turtle Power, like the first TMNT documentary that was made before like the Toys That Made Us and stuff came out, Peter Laird said that this was their attempt to go back to being dark. Like with the first movie, he said it was a giant leap forward, but with Secret of the Ooze, he said it was like taking a giant step back. And with Ninja Turtles 3, he said he wanted this to be their attempt to go back to being dark and gritty.
Right.
I think that got lost in communication because it leads to my biggest, like the number 1 problem I have with this movie: tonal inconsistency. Everyone says that Secret of the Ooze is the most alike to the 1987 movie, but I'd like to disagree and say that this movie is trying so hard to imitate the 1987 show, but it's failing. Like, the tonal inconsistency is all over the place. You have a scene where there's this admittedly pretty impressive opening shot of this Shogun riding into like a red sunset or it was a sunrise.
Yeah.
And there's these soldiers following him on horseback, and you think, oh damn, like this is actually going to be pretty epic. But then you cut to the turtles, and it's like total whiplash. They're making jokes. April comes in looking like she just got out of like a punk rock concert.
Let's dance.
Yeah, Leo's doing mouth to mouth to this poor kid who almost literally burned to death in a house. And then the next scene, we get Mikey teaching this villager how to make pizza. And I'm like, where's the consistency here? Like, I get it. This is a Ninja Turtles movie. We're supposed to be like, oh, it's let loose, have fun. But I kind of want a little consistency in the movies I'm watching, though.
What is it? Like, the last thing I want is to like turn this into a debate, but I will add on to that of like, we're asking for tonal consistency in a franchise called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the dichotomy you work with this franchise. It's
True,
like that
yeah.
sometimes it doesn't make any sense. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of defend this movie to some extent. Like, not like fully, like I still acknowledge it's like the worst of the trilogy and it's the most ugly looking one in terms of like turtle designs. But in terms of embracing just the absolute nonsense that like adventures the turtles go on, like in the most like casual of ways, like to remind people, in the original Mirage comics, they went to space as early as issue 4. Like
very early on.
Very, very early on. And so time traveling to feudal Japan through use of a time scepter is not out of the realm of possibility for these guys. Even though, like, it probably would have been better had they, like, taken some more elements from, like, the original comics. Like, if they had kept the whole scepter plot and feudal Japan thing, but, like, brought in stuff like Renette and
Exactly.
Yeah,
I wanted to bring
would
that
have
up.
been interesting. But, like, they don't do that because they probably don't have the budget to, like, pull off Savati in a convincing way.
Now, that would be pretty cool, though.
And the weird thing is, this film, like, has a bigger budget than the first film, but, like, slightly less, like, of a budget than Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like, we looked it up earlier. Like, the original film had, like, maybe, like, 13 million. The second one had 25 million. This one had 21 million.
Jesus.
And I
did not know that.
How much was spent on the turtle costumes?
Yeah, because
Good
this
lord.
was the movie that they didn't have the Jim Henson Company, and this was a
Yeah.
completely separate studio.
You can feel it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
What I like about this movie is the setting. I like the whole village thing. I really like the action sequences. They're pretty cool.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Beyond that, though, I don't know what to praise. I mean,
What is there to praise?
I mean, with the figures coming out, right? They're making figures of this movie pretty soon, relatively soon.
They should be coming out at
yeah.
San Diego Comic-Con this week, yeah.
Yeah, they look cool.
So I will say I got to give praise to this movie. I liked the designs of the turtles in armor. I thought that looked pretty cool.
Yeah, that looked really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was a fan of that.
was cool.
In terms of things that I can praise about this film, I have a lot of notes. Way more than Secret of the Ooze, funnily enough.
Wow. Okay.
Just me taking note of like the random stuff that happened in this movie.
Right.
But there were actually at least a few like lines that actually got me to laugh a little bit, and it's all like the corny stuff. And like Turtles comedy has always like had a level of campiness and corniness.
How many are
like,
from
a lot of
Donnie?
How many? Surprisingly, not many from Donnie.
Okay.
No disrespect to Corey Feldman, I do still get a kick out of what is it? Help! I'm a turtle and I can't get up. Like,
Were you expecting maybe the Addams Family?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can. Corey Feldman
yeah.
wanted to be Mikey so bad, you can just feel it.
Mikey like has two of my favorite lines, and it's in the exact same scene of when what is it? Kenshin, I think is the name of the prince, right? When he first shows up, and they're just like he's mistaking them all for like Kappa, you know, like ancient like Japanese demons. And Mikey mishears it as like Kappa? Cappuccino? Cappuccino? Nah, that makes me hyper.
We have to talk about Casey. They brought him back to babysit.
Poor Elias Koteas. After all the grief Karens gave him after the first movie, only to be given this movie to come back to, that man deserves a paycheck and eternal forgiveness.
I mean, like, even he in the movie himself knows that he was wasted. Like, one of the lines was, I knew it, I'm missing all the fun. As soon as, like, the soldiers come in for, like, when the turtles travel to feudal Japan, it's like, yeah, they just knew. Like, they knew they wasted Casey in this movie, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, what was with the Casey ancestor guy trying to hook up with April? And then he was a turncoat, but he wasn't a turncoat. But then he was like, that was just so confusing.
I think they just need something for Elias to stay on set for more than one day.
Yeah.
What annoyed me about this is not anything about TMNT 3, but like when Secret of the Ooze came out, like the parents like the trailers are too annoying. What the freak do you want? What do you want, parents?
Make up your mind.
It's all right, boys. We gotta sell the merchandise for the kids when the movie comes out. But we got the parents group breathing down our necks. So what are we gonna do? Well, boss, we could bring back Casey Jones. The fans seem to really like Casey in the first movie. All right, that's good. What are we gonna do with them? Nothing, boss. parents will rip our heads off and we put them up with the turtles.
Pretty much. And this is big.
You want some more of this?
New line cinema pitch
just make him a
meeting.
babysitter, guys. Just make him a babysitter.
Pretty much.
That was some really good voices, Maddie, by the way.
Thank you.
Let's get you know what time it is.
Yeah. If I know I've been saying I hate this movie, and I really do, but if there's one thing I have to give them credit for, it's this one idea that they threw down the drain of the turtles potentially living a normal life in Japan. Because, they get accepted as heroes after they save the village and the little boy. They're blending in with the people. They're worshiping them as if they're local heroes. Mikey falls in love with what's her name?
Was it Mitsu?
Mitsu. Yeah, Mitsu.
See, this is why I take notes.
Thank you so much. At the end of the movie, when they're gonna go, Mikey actually says something. I can't remember the dialogue specifically, but he goes, "No, I'm staying here. We belong here. They don't run from us. They accept us here." Raph even agrees with him.
No, you gotta go home. And then it's like, Mikey's like, well, your home's a fancy apartment. Mine's a sewer.
Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah,
it could have ended up being a satisfying conclusion to the trilogy. You know, like you said, them finding that acceptance, being heroes out in the open, not having to hide. Casey, well, you know, he'll be done babysitting by that point, can be the protector of New York. So that's a good point.
But that would also mean Splinter gets left behind, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
They had to come back. Like whether they like it or not, they had to come back.
And on that note, speaking of Splinter, yeah, sorry, Alex, to cut you off. I was going to mention
his voice, bro. I freaking hate his voice.
And the design. The design looks ugly.
It's like he became like half a puppet in this. It's like the timing of that.
I'm told that my analogies don't make sense, but please hear me out. Splinter looks like a creature that died in the back of a Burger King dumpster, and he was brought back to like Frankenstein style, and he was thrown on set, and they were like, "Oh, what's this? A Splinter puppet? Okay, let's make it work."
Oh no, that analogy fits it perfectly because that is something I did notice when watching the film, is that Splinter's like movement is just very like
stiff.
Well, actually, I think I wrote it down in my notes somewhere. Splinter doesn't have a lower half, and his movement's very stiff, I find, like, because maybe the puppet was just more restrictive this time round, and clearly they just did not design like a lower half just so they could like have him in the windowsill or like in a mid shot.
In terms of legitimate talking points that matter, do we have any more? Because like I can't think of anything else.
No,
I've got a few negatives that I haven't mentioned. What's everyone's thoughts on Walker as a villain?
He is the worst TMNT villain by far.
Oh goodness me.
Let's see. What else have I got? One of my notes at the very end is just Tarzan Boy.
What is Tarzan Boy?
It's one of the songs on the soundtrack that just plays in the background. I think of like
whoa.
That's the one. Thank you, Jackals. Also, let's see. What else can I bring up? This is one thing that I think needs to be said. This movie has a serious like dialogue problem. I think it rarely has a moment where people just shut up for a minute. Like, there are a few moments where it's like, you know, you have genuine like emotion and like, you know, not needing to like spell things out for the audience, but it's like nobody shuts up for more than a minute in this movie, and it's kind of ridiculous.
It actually has the mindset of catering to the TikTok audience, so really this movie is ahead of its time if you really think about it.
Actually, you're kind of right.
It predicted 2023 attention spans.
Oh god, could you imagine if like, you know, the people who like grew up with the Star Wars prequels like coming back to this and like, no, actually, guys, this is really good. Like, despite everyone like pretty much denouncing it as one of the worst Turtles movies
Justice
for like the
for
longest
TMNT
time.
3.
Are you an angel?
Oh, Jesus.
I had to.
Absolutely.
And on that note, this episode is... I'm joking.
I will bring up one note because this is something that I think is of some cultural significance, I think. This movie spawned a national holiday.
What?
When this film was released, the state of California labeled March 19th Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Day.
Really?
I remember that.
To like coincide with the film's release. So by all accounts, TMNT Day is a thing because of this film.
Oh
I
my
remember
god!
that.
One positive.
See, so there we go. If we're going to end the trilogy of the original films, I'm glad it's on a positive note. Thank you, TMNT 3, for that. Thank you.
You're underrated.
I actually do have a positive for this movie, and it's just the one. The settings on some of the locations that they shot at are really good, like the sand on the beach scene, or like the opening with the sky and the horses coming in, and then like, you know, the locations of, you know, where the tourists in April are at, you know, in 1603.
There's a real attempt, I feel, to make this a good film, but it does fall flat ultimately at the end of the day. As much as like some of us get some enjoyment out of how bad it is, for like probably the same reason we watch, say, The Room or Birdemic. Bad movie, reboot. Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is a good stopping point if everyone's got their ideas out.
I feel like we should get the Time Scepter and Time Traveler 2007, because that's our next film.
Yes.
Hey.
This concludes, though, the original trilogy of TMNT films. Thank you guys for joining me on this incredible adventure, but it's not over. We still have a long road to go to Mutant Mayhem. We have a few more stops to make. You guys ready?
Ready.
Ready.
All right.
Yeah.
I've been Geekily. You've been awesome. I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Cowabunga, dudes!
Beautiful.
Bossa Nova!
Cowabunga says it all.
Stay radical, dudes.